Here we have the new Volkswagen Polo GTI, and now more than ever before it's doing a great job of copying its bigger brother. So you've got a honeycomb grille there, you've got the red stripe which runs into the headlamps, and even down the side you've got that little red GTI badge. And do you know what, if you're from a distance looking at it, you wouldn't know whether that's the Polo GTI or the Golf GTI.
Really, this is a Golf GTI in miniature, and it's the same story with the inside. There's a similar GTI steering wheel, clear yet sporty dials, and those trademark tartan covered sports seats.
Well, do you know what, it's all very classy in here. Well, it is, apart from this rather childish looking graphic on the top of the gear knob here. I mean, it actually looks like it's been drawn on by a 12-year-old, but do you know what, I'm going to forgive it for that, because at least this Polo GTI is available with a manual gearbox, whereas the last one wasn't. And well, more on that in a bit, because first of all we need to speak about practicality. And yeah, it might be a sporting car, but at the end of the day this is still a Polo, and so it's a practical little thing.
So you can get it either as a 5-door or this 3-door, and both models are fairly roomy in the back. Interior cubby spaces are good too, while standard equipment includes a slick 6.5-inch touchscreen. Saying that to make room for a larger engine, the battery has been moved to the boot, reducing its volume by 28% compared to the normal Polo. Still, you do get a flat low bay when you fold the seats down.
Well, that's all the sensible stuff out of the way, and now we can talk about the more exciting aspects of this new Polo GTI, and the big news is the engine. So in the old car you had a very, very complex 1.4 litre engine that was both turbocharged and supercharged, but now you've got a 1.8 litre engine with just a single turbocharger, and it's actually more powerful as well. So you've got 189 brake horsepower, which is quite a lot in a small car.
0 to 62 miles an hour is dealt with in just 6.7 seconds, while top speed is 147 miles an hour, which is really quite fast enough for a Super Mini, don't you think?
The great thing about this new engine is that it's got loads of low down shove. Now with the old 1.4 you really had to rev it to get the most out of it, but this one you just put your foot down any gear and it just pulls.
And that brings us on to the second new thing, the manual gearbox. Yes, you can get an auto and the pedal shifter is very good, but the manual is more fun.
And you know what, it's a really nice manual gearbox. The shift's lovely, the clutch is light, though if I'm honest you don't actually have to use it all that much, because this engine's got so much low down shove that it doesn't really matter if you exit a corner in the wrong gear, it'll just put your foot down and it'll pull you out.
So you can make the most of the performance, the Polo GTI has an electronic differential. This breaks an inside wheel in a turn to help slingshot you around it. It also has beefier suspension to keep it nice and planted through the corners.
Obviously the ride is firmer than on the normal Polo, but you want that with a sporty car, don't you? And it's never uncomfortable, it deals with bumps reasonably well actually. However, you can actually upgrade the car with a sport pack. Now that's an option and it costs around £300 and it includes this sport button here. And so 300 quid, it seems like a bit of a no-brainer really. And when you press it, it will sharpen the throttle response, and that is a good thing, I like that. It also adds a bit of extra weight to the steering and yeah, well I'm not entirely sure that feels, well it actually feels a bit artificial. Speaking of artificial, when you press the sports button, it makes the exhaust sound louder, though it's not actually the exhaust. Now drop it down a gear. It's not the exhaust you're hearing there though, it's sound, artificial sound piped through the speakers. So yeah, I'm not sure about that either. And there's one thing I'm not convinced about at all. The final thing that the sports button does is make the suspension firmer, and it just becomes so overly bouncy that it just ruins the ride. So yeah, 300 quid, nah, I wouldn't buy that. Especially as you're going to want to spend that 300 quid on some options, because bizarrely for the top of the range Polo you only get manual air conditioning, no digital climate control, that's an extra. And where's the button for cruise control? Why hasn't this top of the range Polo got cruise control? I have to pay extra for that as well.
And this brings us on to the GTI's main problem. In trying to be a baby Golf GTI, there is just something a little bit too sensible about this car.
Really though, the main influencing factor of whether you're going to buy this Polo GTI one of its rivals. It's the problem that you have with other VW sporting cars, and that's that, yeah, they grip really well, they go exactly where you point them, they're so competent, and this is a very fast car, but you can't turn the stability control all the way off, so it's never going to be quite as playful as the Fiesta ST.
Overall, the Volkswagen chassis isn't quite as adjustable nor as playful as the Fiestas, but while it's not as engaging on a twisty road or a track, the Polo GTI's more grown-up manners do make it easy to live with every day.
However, you should still check out our review of the Fiesta ST by clicking here, or if you fancy something a little bit more French, then check out our review of the Peugeot 208 GTI by clicking there. Now, for full Polo GTI prices, click above my head to go to our website, and please click on our logo to subscribe to our channel. And don't worry, if you're watching on mobile, just click the links below the video, as they do exactly the same thing.